Here is a rewritten version in fuller detail, smoother flow, deeper emotion, and without headings. I kept your structure and intentions intact, and I did not reuse phrasing or issues from earlier rewrites. Her blood was warm against my hands, too warm, almost alive in a way she no longer was. She tried to breathe, but each gasp felt like it scraped across her lungs, sharp and brittle, like glass dragging through air. Her eyes kept searching, darting across my face, the walls, the ceiling, trying to find something she'd never have again. Something none of us could give back. Behind her, the gun still smoked faintly. Her stepfather stood frozen, his shoulders shaking, whispering the same words over and over. She deserved it, she deserved it. As if repeating it could turn insanity into logic. As if it could make his trembling hands look less murderous. Her mother, my ex-wife, was screaming, but not for our child, not for the girl bleeding out in my arms. She screamed for herself, for her own ruptured life. She spat between sobs. She stole my life, my peace, my home. The word stole hung in the air like a rope waiting for a neck, heavy and unforgiving. I reached for my phone, thumb already dialing, but before I could speak, a heavy boot pressed down on my hand. My fingers cracked against the floor, the phone snapping cleanly in half. Her father, the general, decorated, respected, feared by most, looked down at me without a shred of hesitation. "You're not calling anyone," he said. I looked up at him slowly, the taste of blood already in my mouth from biting back the rage. And then I smiled. Not because anything was funny, because I knew something none of them did. Something I'd been carrying quietly for 2 years. A truth that had already begun rotting them from the inside long before tonight. It started after the divorce. She said she was leaving to find peace. I believed her. I even wished her well when she married him. The man she'd insisted for years was just a friend. But truth has a frequency. It hums beneath everything, a low vibration you can feel even when you pretend you can't. It was in the way she flinched when our daughter mentioned my name. In the careful, prideful way he looked at me during drop-offs. In the way her father never met my eyes, like he was guarding a secret with every blink. I didn't chase it at first. I wanted peace, too. But peace doesn't stay when something is buried alive beneath it. Then one night my daughter whispered to me over the phone, voice shaking. "Mom says you're not my real dad." The hum became a roar. I told her not to worry, that I loved her no matter what. And I meant it. But after we hung up, I sat in the dark for a long time, feeling something unravel quietly inside me. Eventually, I started digging. I asked questions softly, listened to responses that were too quick or too rehearsed. People say more when they think you've stopped caring. I learned my ex was already pregnant before she and I ever met. I learned her father handled the medical paperwork. I learned her new husband was more than a friend. He was a piece of her past she had never actually left behind. Then I found the hospital bill. Wrong name. Same date. I ordered a DNA kit. One weekend, I swabbed my daughter's cheek, telling her it was for a school project about genetics. She giggled the whole time. I almost stopped right there. Almost threw it out. But I sent it in. And I waited. Every day she smiled at me. My smile, I thought. My eyes, I convinced myself. My laugh echoing out of her small chest. She was mine. She had to be. But when the envelope finally came, something inside me already knew what was written inside. I didn't open it right away. I brewed coffee, fed the dog, watched the sun push through the blinds in thin pale stripes. Then I tore it open. One line. Probability of paternity. 0%. Heartbreak doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it empties you so quietly you don't notice until you try to stand. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just breathed. And then I started to plan. A week later, I met my ex at a cafe she used to love. She approached with that polished smile she perfected for strangers and lies. "How are you?" she asked lightly. I slid the envelope across the table. No words. She stopped moving. Then she opened it with trembling fingers. I watched her face drain, Watched the mask she'd worn for years collapse in slow motion. "Please, she doesn't know," she whispered. "I know," I said. She reached for my hand. I pulled it back. Then her husband walked in, the real father. I'd invited him, too. He spotted the paper instantly. Read it. Looked at her. Looked at me. His jaw clenched so hard I could hear it.
He didn't speak.
He just turned around and walked out. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Not monstrous. Not even hateful. Just hollow. That night, she came to my house. Tears, apologies, excuses. A flood of regret poured at my feet. I listened until she ran out of breath. Then I handed her a new envelope. Court documents. Transfer of custody. Full decision-making authority granted to me. Her visitation supervised and restricted. Everything already signed by a judge. "You can't do this," she gasped. "I already did," I said. Her father had falsified medical records. I had proof. Her husband had confessed under pressure. I had recordings. Everything was documented, legal, and devastating. "You built this lie," I told her. "I just finished it." And I closed the door. Months passed. Then the world collapsed for them. Her mother went to prison. Her husband took his own life. The general lost his rank, his career, his legacy. And my daughter was gone, buried beneath a patch of earth that had only recently begun to grow grass again. Now I sit by her grave, tracing her name with fingers that still remember her tiny hand inside them. She wasn't mine by blood, but she was mine in every way that mattered. The lie stole her life. The truth destroyed the rest. And me? I'm not shattered. Not healed. Just quiet. Some wounds never close. They simply stop bleeding loudly enough for the world to notice. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And subscribe to Cheating Stories Insight World for more stories.